Authenticity isn't a nice to have in leadership. It's a non-negotiable. In a world full of facades, only your truth is the boldest move you can make. Welcome to the Danni Vee Show, the podcast for high-performing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs ready to lead with elegance, courage, and radical responsibility. I'm Danni Vee, and I'm here to help you strip away the fluff and step fully into your power at the boardroom and in business. In each episode, we'll share no-nonsense insights and real conversations on what it takes to show up authentically, make tough decisions with grace, and create impact at the highest levels. So if you're ready to own your voice and lead on your terms, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Danni Vee Show and welcome to 2026. I cannot believe we are in 2026 and I could not be more excited on what's to come for this year. Now, today is a little bit of a reflection, really, because lately I've been sitting with this quiet sense that something isn't shifting, not in a dramatic way and not in a way that feels rushed or urgent, but in that steady, grounded way where you can feel things realigning. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt time with everything is starting to come together under the surface? When I look at 2026, it doesn't feel like a year that's asking the force of hustle, which I really felt in 2025, or even just that constant movement of like pushing and pushing and pushing. It feels like a year that's asking for intention. And when I look at it through a few different lenses, that makes a lot of sense. Numerologically, if I can get that word out, 2026 is a 1 year. We have just completed a 9-year cycle. And a 1 year is always about beginnings, not tidy beginnings and not perfectly planned ones either, but real alignment, real beginnings, the kind where, something is chosen before it is fully making sense. I've seen this pattern over and over again in business, in leadership, and in life. The years that truly change things rarely start with certainty. They start with a decision, an intention, often a quiet one, but sometimes when that only you know you've made. And that's okay. A 1 year doesn't reward waiting. It responds to intentional movement, not that push from 2025. Intentional movement to direction, to someone saying, I don't have all the answers yet, but you know what? I can't stay here any longer. That's why so many people feel unsettled right now, because they know that things are changing, but they're not aware of the intention they now need to set. And it's not because there's something wrong. It's because standing still doesn't work in a 1 year. It's not going to work this year. Something needs to shift. The energy itself gently pushes you forward. And did you recognize how I said gently? It gently pushes you forward. It's not a hustle push. And there's another layer to this year as well. 2026 is the year of the horse, the Chinese year of the horse. Horse energy is independent, it's forward moving, and deeply intuitive. It's not reckless, and it doesn't second guess itself into paralysis either. It knows when it's time to move, and when it does, it commits. That's that radical responsibility, committing to that intention and to that growth of the next 9-year cycle. I often see this show up with women who've outgrown old roles or old versions of themselves. So often in my mastermind, I see this happen with the women outgrowing old versions of themselves and really stepping into who they truly were meant to be on this earth. And sometimes it's even old dreams. They're outgrowing. On the outside, things still look fine. They look okay. But internally, something is restless. Not chaotic, just restless and ready to shift. Can you feel that? Horse energy needs space as well. So space to choose direction, space to move without being pulled back by expectations that no longer fit you. Space to be you and that future you that you're moving into now. When you combine a 1 year with a horse year, the message is very, very clear. This isn't a year to refine what already exists. That cycle is over. It is a year to initiate. And that is so exciting. And I'm so excited to be supporting so many business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs to really initiate who they're becoming into something new right now, and to do it from self-trust rather than certainty. Self-trust is essential, and this is such a big lesson for me from 2025. I really didn't trust in my intuition so many times, and I wish I had. So this initiation is just as much for me as it is for you. This is why 2026 doesn't feel outcome driven to me. It really doesn't. It feels like a seed planting year. I think about this in the context of leadership a lot. The leaders who make the biggest long-term impact aren't always the ones chasing quick wins. And this is what I often saw with my executive clients and leaders that I worked with in 2025. They're the ones willing to invest in who they're becoming, even when there's no immediate gratification, there's no immediate payoff. They know that it is coming. This year asks that same thing of you. Not what can I prove, but what am I ready to begin? And that is so exciting. What are you ready to begin? Because real change doesn't start with what you do. It starts with identity. Who are you becoming now? What feels complete to you? What feels ready to be left behind? There's something else that matters here too. A 1 year doesn't exist in isolation. Starts a 9-year cycle. I mentioned that before. We've just finished a 9-year cycle, and this is the beginning of another 9-year cycle. And this means before we rush forward, there's value in looking back, reflecting on how far you've come and what are the lessons that you're bringing into this next new cycle. Think about where you were 9 years ago. Who were you becoming then? What were you building, tolerating, and believing? Some of the choices you made back then shaped this chapter of your life. Some served you absolutely beautifully. Some probably kept you safe when you needed safety. And that's where I really reflected of 2025. But this is a new cycle, right? 2026 is a new cycle for you to begin the new future you. And it asks for a new level of honesty. If you've felt a nudge lately, maybe a decision you keep circling, or a sense that the version of you that got you here isn't the one meant to help you move forward in this next 9-year cycle. And that's not impatience. This is alignment. And I'm going to be speaking so much about this year. The initiation of energy doing exactly what it's meant to do. This year isn't asking you to rush or burn everything down. Don't burn it down. It's asking you to stop waiting for certainty and start trusting that self-trust, your internal signal. You don't need the full plan. You don't need everything mapped out. You just need to choose the direction your energy is moving in. This is how 1 years work. And this is how horse years work. And this is how real change is going to manifest in your life starting in 2026. So I'd like to leave you with some reflection questions to journal, and I will put a downloadable in here as well. Before you move in with your day, I want you to really pause and reflect with this. Journaling it, or even just putting it into your notes app, writing it down is such a different shift for your mind than just thinking about it in your head. So write it down. I really suggest that you do. So here's the questions. What has the last 9-year cycle taught me about myself? Pause. And now what am I proud of that I often overlook? Just pause this for a couple of minutes before you answer that. What feels complete, even if I haven't formally acknowledged it yet? What am I no longer willing to carry into this next chapter? And finally, what feels ready to begin, even if I don't know exactly how? This is what excites me the most. There's so much coming this year. And reminder, you don't need to be perfect. Be honest with yourself in these journaling questions. You're only lying to yourself, and we want to build that self-trust. Initiation doesn't start with action. It starts with self-awareness. The more aware you are, the more honest you are, the more you are going to trust yourself. And I want this for you in 2026. I'm so excited for what's coming in 2026. I've got big plans on what I'm sharing in this podcast. And next week, we're going to be speaking to the incredible Annalise McCarthy. So be sure to tune into that episode. Until now, have the most amazing, incredible time journaling these questions. If you love this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and share it with a leader that you know needs to reflect, that you know needs to hear that this is a year of initiation, a year of new beginnings, and a year of moving forward. Until next time. Thank you so much for joining me on the Danni Vee Show today. I hope you're leaving this episode feeling inspired and empowered. My goal is always to bring you elegant insights with a bold impact. If you enjoyed our conversation, I invite you to subscribe to the show and leave a quick review. Your feedback not only means the world to me, but it also helps other growth-minded leaders find this community. Remember, leadership is an inside-out journey. The poise, the passion, and the purpose we cultivate within ourselves are what transform the world around us. So until next time, stay true to your vision and keep leading with the unique mix of grace and strength. Stay radiant, stay resilient, and I'll be right here cheering you on. I can't wait to hang out with you again on the next episode of the Danni Vee Show.